What's up, guys? It's Steven here at Powell's Power Ups. I got a lightsaber for sale that I'm gonna showcase. This video will show everything about it. I'm gonna disclose all the good stuff about it, all the bad stuff about it, just so that if you're interested in buying this, you know everything about it before you buy it. There's nothing anything bad about it. It's just not perfect. So first thing to understand is that this is not a brand new lightsaber. It's used. I bought it off of a Facebook group. It was in a lot of sabers that I bought, and I decided to flip them all. So this is the first one that I did. This is a 2015 Hasbro Force FX lightsaber. It is the Luke Skywalker lightsaber from A New Hope. So it has the bubble strip in the clamp there. Because it's used, there are a few hairline scratches on this brushed aluminum hilt that actually you can't see unless you put them in just the right amount of light, or just where the light hits it at a certain angle. So I don't know if you can see some of these. So there's two right there above my finger. Okay, there's one more right here above my finger. I don't know if you can see those. And then there's two right here above this finger. So there's like 5 little nicks on it total. So I just wanted to, fully disclose, that this is not a perfect hilt. It is a used hilt. I bought it used. I converted it. But it's still really nice. And like I said, those little nicks on it are what I call hairline scratches. One of them might be a little deeper than the others. But other than that, the hilt looks great. And I changed a few things out on it to make it look even better. Because it was so lightweight, because this is aluminum, all the parts on it were plastic, it was super light. So to add some, value to it, to make it more authentic, give it some weight, I changed out a few things. First, I changed out the glass eye. So the original glass eye, was plastic. This is a plastic glass eye, and it got scratched up when I removed or disassembled, the saber. So I got a brand new one from the custom saber shop. It's a Replica Thumbscrew, so it's screwed in. Then I also changed out the electrical pins, which I also got from the custom saber shop. The original ones, again, got a little scratched whenever I disassembled the saber, and these were just kind of they were pinned in. They weren't screwed in. There's just like little rivets in there that held them in. So I had to change those out. I also did the same thing with the red button. It was plastic before. It got a little damaged when I removed it. I changed that out to a metal one, replica version, thumbscrew version from the custom saber shop. And then lastly, the blade holder where the blade was originally in there was plastic. Because I upgraded this to a Neopixel saber and I wanted to make it removable, I got rid of this one and I got the actual metal blade holder from the FX conversion kit from the custom saber shop. So that's in here too. So I also used their 7-pin connection system, which is on the end of the blade too. I'll get to the blade in a minute. So that's in there. It has the 7 pins. These are not functional. The button here isn't functional, just the bubble strip is. It has a single switch. It's a single switch operating system. It has a Proffieboard in it. So if you're familiar with Proffieboard, it's using the SA22C prop file. I'll have that, whoever purchases it, I have the instructions on how to operate it, print it off, so they'll get those. But there's one tactile switch underneath the bubble strip here. And that's how you turn it on and off and operate the saber. It used to move up and down. Now there's a tactile switch, but it still moves around a little bit. There's a little bit of play in there because I had to sand it down to get it to function well with the tactile switch. So I sand the bottom of it so that it could press down. And then I also had to sand the sides so that when this was clamped together, it didn't clamp that bubble strip so tight that it couldn't press down. So I had to sand the sides of it too. So it moves freely, but the way it's made, it won't actually come out of that clamp. So it moves freely, but that's okay. It still works great. So the bottom, I'll show you guys. The bottom has a little belt clip on the pommel that unscrews, There's holes in there for the speaker. So I'll go ahead and show you guys the chassis. This unscrews. So the speaker is right there at the bottom, in the bottom of the chassis. It's pretty far away from the pummel cap, so it shouldn't hit it. But just to make sure, as you can see, I installed rubber O-rings, or little grommets, rubber grommets, in the bottom of the pummel. That way, if it hits anything, it just bumps up against that rubber there. And just the edges of the speaker, the frame of the speaker does, not the actual speaker itself. I also installed a little pull tab in there to be able to pull the chassis out, because the chassis has tape around it so that it fits in the bottom of the hilt very snug and it doesn't rattle around. So the pull tab was just kind of folded and tucked up against the wall. And then you just grab the little pull tab like that. And then once you get past the tape, it comes out really easy. So this is a 3D printed chassis by 8-Bit Orchard off of Etsy. It's silver, it's 3D printed. As you can see, this chassis is removable up to this point so that you can access your battery and your Proffieboard, okay? So like I said, it has a Proffieboard version 2.2. It's in a 3D printed holder so that it sits in there nice and flush with some Kapton tape over the top of it to protect the connections from touching anything metal, since the hilt is metal. SD cards on the bottom. Also, we have a lithium-ion battery from the Custom Saber shop. This is the 18650 15 amp max continuous discharge. The speaker on the bottom is from the Smugglers Outpost. It's their 28 millimeter SE Elite version, the premium bass speaker that they offer. It's the best one I can find on the market. But yeah, so you just kind of, there's the wires inside of there. I don't know if you guys can see, but you just kind of twist this chassis up a bit before you stick it in, and that coils those wires up on the inside so that they fit nice and snug. So you're just going to push, not the speaker directly, but the edges. I'm going to use just my fingers. Push it in about a 1/2 inch, and then you'll notice it kind of doesn't want to go anymore. That's because that tape I wrap around there is up against these rubber grips on the inside, so it's a nice, snug, sturdy fit, and that chassis ain't moving. But you got to push it in just a little bit so that the pummel cap can go back on. I like to wear the gloves because the hilt is so shiny, and you know, if your fingers are greasy at all, you'll get smudges on it. So I'm trying to keep it, you know, smudge free. So I'll put the chassis back on. All right, so now I'll talk about the blade that comes with it. This is the original blade. It is 37 inches long, so it's a long one. About 1 inch of it, maybe 1.5 inches, goes inside the hilt. So you got a 35.5 inch, 36 inch long blade. It's pretty long. Makes it really great, really balanced, really fun to swing around. What else? It has Neopixel LED strips. It has the WS2812B strips in it. I also took the point in the middle where the manufacturer solders them together. I cut those, trimmed them down, and resoldered them so there's no dark spot in the middle whenever it's lit up. Got the blade side adapter to hold the 3-ring connector for the 7-pin hilt side connector from the Custom Saber shop on here. The bottom of it looks a little rough because the Saber originally had a fixed blade. This was the blade holder originally. There were metal pins that ran through this holder and through the blade to hold it in to keep it from flying out. Nothing really I can do about those holes. I didn't want to cut the blade to make it any shorter because it's a good length. But those holes anyway, when you put it inside the hilt, they get covered up. You can't see them. There's only one spot here at the top that you can see from where it used to go a lot deeper in, and the red button thumb screw original one pressed up against the blade right there. So there's one spot you can see. But other than that, it's a great blade. There's a few scuff marks here at the bottom. Remember, this is a used lightsaber. It's not brand new. So there's a few scuff marks here at the bottom. Most of them are down here. Looks really great all the way up through the middle. And then the top has like maybe one, maybe 2 scuff marks. And then, you know, these types of blades, you can see little tiny hairline scratches on it if you really inspect, but there's almost none through the middle. Most of this stuff you can't even see unless the blade is turned on. Then you can see those things. But really, you can only see these things if you're really kind of standing here looking for imperfections, if you're being a bit of a critic. But if you're just looking for a great NeoPixel blade, this is a great blade. It has a tiny bit of, again, just full disclosure, this is really hard to get around with NeoPixel blades. It has a little bit of what they call corn cobbing. So the LED strips, there's two of them back to back. You have lights shining out on one side, lights shining out on the other. Corn cobbing is where there's a bit of a dark effect where you can see the sides of those LED strips just because there's no light being emitted there. There's foam in it, inside of it, and that helps diffuse that a little bit so it doesn't show up as much. And again, you can only really see it if you're looking for it. But if you're just swinging around having a great time, you don't really notice those things at all. But it's a great blade. So I'll go ahead and put this in now. Well, let's see, is there anything else? 258. There's 129 LEDs on each side. So 258 total pixels inside of here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and pop it in the Hilt now, and then I'll do some demonstrations. All right, so here we go. Now I'm gonna do the light show. So first of all, I'll show you how to put the blade in and how to do the set screw. I don't know if you can see it. See these two little black squares right there? There's a black set screw on the left one, my right, your left, and then you'll get an Allen key that'll come with it, and that's how you tighten up the set screw to put the blade in, okay? So I'll go ahead and do that real quick. So I have a Proffieboard version 2.2 in here, and I have currently 4 fonts on here with 5 different presets, okay? So the 4 fonts are from Kyberphonics. I have Luke Skywalker's Graflex from A New Hope, the training version that he has. I have the Force Awakens Graflex, the TROS Graflex, and the DYAD Rave font. So I put all of those on here. But the reason why there's 5 presets, and I have all this printed out and typed up, that way whoever buys it can see everything that I put on the Saber. And by the way, I can add things that you want too. I can totally eliminate these if you want, but this is what I set up on it. It tells you each preset, it tells you what the font it is and all the effects that I put on that font. So I put in various types of effects on various types of fonts. The first one is from, is Luke Skywalker, okay? So I'll go ahead and demo this stuff now. And some of it I'll do up against the wall, that way you can see the effects a little better, okay? So I got the speaker turned up too so you can really hear this thing. Smooth swing. Then if you swing hard enough, you have accent swings on top of the smooth swing. This particular style is an audio flicker, so the flicker goes off of the hum that you hear. Right? Same thing with the sounds when you swing it. When it hears that swing sound, it flickers to that sound, so it makes it very realistic. We have the color, the Jedi Deep Sky Blue. We'll do some clashing for you. Has lockup. So the lockup is responsive. As you change the angle of your hilt, the lockup moves up and down the blade. If it's up, the lockup stays low on the blade. And if you go down, it moves down the blade, okay? All those effects on here are responsive. Same thing with blasters. There's also blast moves, so you can hit it once and hold it. That puts you in a blaster move trigger, where you just move the blade. And that's how you get blasters. Tap it again to get out. It has lightning block. Okay, it has tip drag. It has melt. has stab. Yeah. It has the force effects.
Look, good against remotes is one thing. Good against the living, it's something else.
So we got quotes in there, and then when you're in those force effects, you get 7 seconds of a specific type of effect, and they're all printed out. This one, the blade turns white as you swing it.
I call it luck. My experience, the most famous.
You can also change color. If the blade is pointing down, you can twist it.
Your eyes can deceive you. Don't trust them.
So if you want to do, you know, like a different color blade.
I call it luck. In my experience, there's no such thing as luck.
So there's a purple. You could say that's Mace Windu. Huh. Yeah. So now we'll go to the next one. Is the Force Awakens. When Rey, you know, first started getting her force powers, and she found the lightsaber.
I'm never touching that thing again.
So we go with a deep blue on this one. Now the sounds are a little deeper, a little richer, a little more bass. This one is my favorite. Actually, the next one is. You'll see why. Clash sounds. Lock up. Blasters. I love that melt effect too. You got the force effects on here too.
You can't do this. I won't.
So we have quotes from Rey whenever you do it.
I'll hold them off. You can't do this. I won't let you.
Alright, then this next one is actually my favorite. It's the same font, but it has all of Finn's quotes on it and him talking from when he uses the lightsaber in The Force Awakens.
Come get it.
I changed the power on effects too. On each of these, they have different power on effects. Here we have a post-off effect that's called an after spark. So watch the power on effect. Yeah. So this has what's called a hump flicker. The other one was an audio flicker. So the flicker was, you know, the hum sound. So a hump flicker is just where there is a bounce back and forth between the tip and the front and the bottom of the blade. You can kind of see it when I put it up against the wall. See the bouncing back and forth? This one's also my favorite flicker. Those are blaster waves.
I'm done with the first order.
So his force effect is different. We have a white-blue audio flicker to a white swing. Again, I just set up the force stuff to last 7 seconds. Okay. The next one, and again, there's the after spark post-off effects. I put different effects on different ones. The next one is the Rise of Skywalker Graflex font.
I'm all the Jedi.
I'm all the Jedis, the Rey quote. Again, back to the deep sky blue. This is back to a blast fade. Oh yeah, I forgot about this one. So this rage I put on this one is, you know how Rey gets really angry in the Rise of Skywalker? This one turns red for rage as you swing it whenever you use a force effect. I love this thing so much, okay? And that one, I think I put a random flicker on it. The next one has what's called the DYAD font. So if you think of the Rise of Skywalker, all the times that Rey fought Kylo Ren when they were connected, that's what this font is based off of. Their lightsabers and the sounds actually sound different.
You want to get rid of him.
I'll do the power on again. So here we have an emitter cool off on this one. Power up and cool and power down effects. We have a ripple there after the lockup. I also put an unstable swing on this one. You can see as I swing the blade, it becomes unstable. I put a waves on the clashes. Listen to this font, it sounds cool. So a few other things about it. You might have noticed in between fonts there's what's called a passive battery monitor. So you get a light indicator at the base of your blade with a color indicator of your battery health. Green being at max, yellow being about half dead, and then red would be your battery's dead. So it's like a yellowish green now, so I probably still have 3/4 of the power there, but some other things that you can do with it, you can change volume while it's off by holding your button and then clashing. That puts it in the volume menu. So long holds will turn it down, and then just short taps will turn it up. It'll give you a long beep like that when it's all the way up, and then it'll give you a long beep when it's all the way down. Now the volume I have currently set as 2,000 out of 3,000, and that's just the max volume. You know, I don't like to turn it up any louder than that because I'm trying to preserve the life of the speaker. But you can actually make it go louder than it is now. You just have to reprogram it that way. So I'm going to turn it back up to show you one more thing. So each of the fonts also has background music, okay? So for the little finale here, for the little showcase, I have the Star Wars music, the main theme, since this is the A New Hope lightsaber. You can do the themes by double tapping when the blade's off. It's flickering to the theme.
I'm never touching that.
So each of the fonts has their own theme music too. So this is The Force Awakens. The theme music here is from the fight in the woods with Kylo Ren, Rey, and Finn. Remember when she force pulls it and she's holding it, and then she turns it on?
Come get it.
I'm all the Jedi.
So here we have the TROS font. So I got the theme music when she's, I think when she's fighting Palpatine. Maybe it's at a different part. I can't remember when this is. Anyway, so there it is, guys.